This is the Kodak v610 digital camera. It was current last summer. It's no longer current, but I like it. I've been using it since then. When it came out, I think it came out in July or so, or June of '06. So it's now December of '07. It's been a year and a half. The specs are not necessarily current anymore, but it's a great little camera, and I'll tell you why in just a second. It's a dual lens camera, which means that it has two lenses. The bottom one is the main one, and then this one is used for landscapes, or for when you go past 5x. This one is 1 to 5x. This is 5x to 10x. So the equivalent range of the lenses is 38 to 380 millimeters. They're fairly good lenses, and even when you go out to 10x and you do a landscape photo, if you zoom in at 100%, there's some fringing on the sides, but it's minimal. Considering that the lenses are that tiny, the fringing is pretty minimal. So that's the camera. That's the microphone for recording movies, because it does movies as well. And this is the flash, of course. The flash is not very powerful, but again, this is a tiny camera. It's very thin. It's meant to be used. Just stuck in a little pocket, or if you're a woman, a purse or something like that. So you can understand that they couldn't stick a huge flash on there. This one can also do Bluetooth, and so you can send those movies or videos that you take with the camera to your computer or to your cell phone. And so you could take a nice little photo of a flower and then send it via Bluetooth to your cell phone and use it as a background for your or as a wallpaper for your cell phone. So that's kind of nice that it does that. The other important feature, which I already talked about, is the zoom. The fact that you can get a zoom on a camera this tiny is amazing to me. And of course it couldn't have been done without using two lenses. I mean, there are other cameras that nowadays they can sort of get a good zoom by doing other things, like sliding components laterally and doing all kinds of stuff. But this is a nice way to do it, and it works quite well. And I love the controls. They're very easy. You've got the buttons here for scene, delete, menu, review, and share. And then you've got the zoom buttons right there, the zoom control, and then you've got the various controls for the menus right here. The controls for switching between macro and landscape are right there. So if you were to just turn on the camera, and then you wanted to switch between macro or landscape, you could do it right from there without having to go to anywhere else. You simply toggle it, macro, landscape, normal, and it works beautifully. And that's the speaker for the camera, and this is the screen. It's a nice 2.5-inch LCD. It does the job wonderfully, and that's the charging port. And on the back here, you've got a metal mount for the tripod, which is just, I think it's a quality indicator right there that they bothered to put a metal mount on the tripod for the tripod. And then you've got the battery and the SD card compartment right there. The battery is quite thin, and one of the complaints with the camera is that it'll only last for 125 shots or so. In practice, I found it to last, if you're careful and if you don't use the LCD too much, because there's no viewfinder on the camera. If you don't use the LCD too much, it lasts about 130, 240 possibly shots. But yeah, the battery life is pretty low. So you want to keep that in mind. I actually have an extra battery for the camera. So yeah, that's the camera. You'll have to excuse my hands because I've been doing a lot of housework over the weekend, and I've got still got some paint, and anyway, I've scrubbed my hands, but I can't get it quite off all of a sudden. So that's the little camera, and I like it. I like it a lot. I've actually put a 2 GB SD card. It uses SD cards in there, and you can shoot an hour of video with the SD card. Now I don't know if the battery will last out for an hour, but at least you can shoot an hour, supposedly. So you can connect it via DC, via the adapter to an outlet, and shoot an hour of video if you need to on that card. And it can take approximately what does it say? It says 186 photos. I'm sorry, 1186 photos. And what I've done actually with the camera, I'm not sure that you can see it, but it's got the black borders here and there. I've switched it to shoot in 3x2 format, so you can do that. If you don't necessarily like the 4x3 format, which is prevalent on the smaller cameras, digital cameras, you can switch this camera back to 3x2 so you get the more traditional format, but that will decrease the amount of pixels. And so even though the camera does 6.1 megapixels, it's actually inscribed on the metal border here. If you switch it to a 3x2, it'll do 5.3, and it actually says that on the screen, but again, I can't get too close because the macro mode isn't working as expected on this video camera that I'm using. And oh, the wonderful thing, I mean, it can be both wonderful and both bad. I think it's wonderful because this is a great camera for beginners or for somebody that doesn't really care about doing advanced or more advanced things, like adjusting the settings, doing various things with the macro, things like that. Because every time you shut the camera off, all of the settings are reset. It goes right back to normal, so when you turn it back on, it's in automatic mode. So you can't go wrong with automatic. You just take it out and you point it and you shoot. You just press that button over there and you're done. You don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, oh look, you can see my LaCie drives there in the LCD of the camera. But anyway, so if you're a more advanced photographer, this is probably not the camera for you. But if you just want to have an easy little point and shoot that actually does 10x, then this is a great camera for you, because it resets itself. So if you've messed some of the options, don't worry, just turn it off, turn it back on, you're good to go. The other salient feature of the camera that I do want to mention, and one that attracted me to the camera when I decided to buy it, was the landscape format. The panoramic format. It does stitching. You can do 2 or 3 photo stitching, and it does it in camera. And it also has a little wizard that adjusts the colors in camera, and you can do cropping in camera as well. So it's quite advanced that way. One more thing I do want to mention about the camera, it's metal. It's an all metal casing. So it's a quality casing. I've actually dropped the camera to the floor, and it was a hard wood floor, and the camera did just great. It landed on the corner. I believe it might have been that corner. There's not even a nick over there. So it not only looks great and stylish, but it's pretty resistant to shock, and it does just great. I like it. I think it's a great little camera, and I've used it well for a year and a half. I mean, it's got its limitations, but if you know what they are and you're willing to live with them, I would recommend it. I'm not sure. I believe it may be discontinued now, but if you can find it and you want to grab a little point and shoot that you can use anywhere, this would be a great little camera for you.